Hey, this is Rex and Paul.
I'm Rose.
I'm Nikki.
And this is the Redcast Podcast.
Whoa.
Episode.
I don't remember. I forgot to check.
I think it's like 10 or 11.
Yeah, I think it's 10.
Something
12.
like that.
10.
Alright, so it's episode 10. Yeah, so we actually do have a fun fact for this week. So it turns out Freerun was originally supposed to be a comedy.
Oh, well, I see that. It's very lighthearted.
Yeah. So Mr. Ogura, who was the editor-in-chief in a Q&A, talked about this. He said, so originally it was supposed to be a gag one-shot, if we're being specific. So one day he comes to me with the storyboard, which would be the first chapter of the Freerun, and I was looking over it and laughed, thinking, this isn't a gag manga at all. But I thought it was kind of funny, and I wanted to take it forward somehow. So I did a short read-through it, but at the beginning we were planning to run it as a short, intensive series.
Oh, cool.
On the Wikipedia, they even go on to say it was supposed to be a funny thing about an elf that's obsessed with killing demons. But another source says it wasn't funny enough to be a comedy, but it does have funny airs about it that he was like, I like this, though, keep it going.
Yeah, that's
yes.
cool.
I mean, you can still kind of see that pull through. She's very obsessed about it. She was called, what? Freerun the Slayer?
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
So they kept a few values of that.
There's also many shows that get canceled right at the very beginning, but this is like the reverse.
I wonder, is there a history of any anime or show that's gone to anime and then gets canceled? Like, not even for the full season, they're like, nah, this is trash.
Oh, a manga. Like it's a manga, it gets a show adaptation.
But then they suck at it.
I'm sure.
There's plenty of one season only anime.
Well, I know, but like they didn't even make one season. They're like episode 4. Like, no, you get no more.
I'm pretty sure you get greenlit for a certain amount of episodes.
Oh, okay. So they have to let you finish it.
Yeah,
okay.
So there are some animes that have like almost like a special where they only do like a three episode special.
Yeah, but that's on purpose.
But that's on purpose, yeah.
And I can't think of an example right now, but there have been some that they got the one season. You're definitely not going to get a second season, but there was enough popular demand to get an OVA. And then that OVA, they either do it like a massive time skip or they crunch down a massive amount of chapters into a small thing, kind of to give closure or this is what would have happened kind of thing.
Okay.
I think it was more popular back in the day when anime were still just ads for the manga. Remember when there was that whole year of that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But we've got a poll that's going on right now that should be done by the time that this is up, actually. And right now, it looks like Steins Gate's going to win. It's got like 50%, and the other two are splitting 25%.
50%? My gosh.
I didn't expect that, because at the beginning, the first few episodes, they were all dead tied, and then Steins Gate just shot ahead.
Why do you have that face?
Because I just don't want to watch Steins Gate. I don't know. It's
sad?
I don't know. I don't know anything about the show.
Oh, I don't want to watch this show. I have no idea what it's about.
Well, it's one of the shows that was... Whoa. Sure, just creaked. Yeah, it's one of the shows that was really big back in the day, so you might have gotten a lot of recommendations for it, so it might have turned you off from it.
Yeah.
As those recommendations do.
It's like, you should watch this, it's really good. Never. Just because.
Yeah, I don't. It's one of those shows also that I don't want to hype up too much because I have seen people get hyped up on it too much. It's a good anime.
Okay,
you know?
It's not great. But it's good enough.
I won't say it's not great.
Oh,
Personally, I really enjoyed it a lot. I think it's one of my favorites.
oh, you've seen it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There are 2 seasons. It might be another situation where we watch only 1 season though, because I've seen a lot of other reactors react to Steins Gate. They only do 1 season and they just act like season 2 doesn't exist. And I haven't seen season 2, but as it's been explained to me, it's a dramatic shift in the way they do things.
Okay.
But yeah, I never wanted to look into it too much in case it's what I think it might be. But yeah. The other runner-ups is Windbreaker and Mashal. Mashal, you've talked about that extensively.
Yes.
You finished it yet or no?
Yes, I finished everything that's out at the moment, yeah.
2 seasons?
2 seasons, yes. And I think they have an OVA, but it's just a crazy OVA. So we can skip that if we want to.
It's a comedy, right?
Yes, very much comedy.
Yeah, we were concerned about our ability to discuss it and stuff. Well, I think you got if the thing is if you get a comedy and you like the comedy,
The reaction is not the problem. It's the discussion.
yeah, that's the part I enjoy about it. But if I don't mind a comedy, it's just there's nothing worse than watching a comedy you don't find funny.
Yeah.
So there's a risk there. But I think I would find it funny.
It's like Mashal's type of comedy is like you'd think that you'd get tired of like the gags that they do, but like it's they always tweak it slightly to get the laugh out of you. I don't know how they accomplish it every time, but it's funny.
Comedian masters are behind it.
Season 2 intro is spectacular.
I have actually heard season 2 intro.
It is so good.
It was a meme for a while with how good it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it watchable on the first go, or is like spoilery?
It only has character spoilers, but it doesn't really tell you anything about the show. You could watch it if you wanted. I did.
Do you normally skip the intros?
Sometimes. I only ended up watching it because I ended up watching I watched the intro before I even watched the rest of season 2. So I didn't mind watching it again. But yeah, usually I tend to skip them until I watch it the first episode, and then if there's any spoilers in there, I force myself to forget them. It's a special skill.
It actually is.
And then I'll watch the intro and outro for the last episode just as a goodbye, last hurrah. There was like this for some reason the animes I watched the intro and outro of Iruma-kun every single episode because it was just so good. I don't know what it is about these B-tier animes and their spectacular music. Like seriously, there's some like it's completely awful animes out there but their intros are just so good.
They put all the budget into it.
That's the only place the energy went.
You see, that's the thing. I can see heart when you see stuff like that. Even if it's not a great anime, I can see that the people who are making this care. Like, even though I would still classify Iruma-kun as a B-tier anime, there's B-tier and there's B-tier. You know, like it's not as great as the others, but it's still a decent anime.
Yeah.
You know. I think maybe if it had more attention, more money, better source material.
That's important.
Yeah.
Better source material.
Just throw that.
I just feel like you
in
can feel the effect of the people who are making this actually cared.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's funny. I was gonna say maybe it's like do you think of it as two different types of B tier, or just like a solid B versus like a B minus?
I think they're not even actually B tier. I think there's a lot of shows that are like C tier.
Yeah.
And Iruma-kun is a classic B tier where there's nothing wrong with being B. B is still good.
Yeah.
You know, but when we say B tier, you
like
hear
average.
a bad show. Yeah, like a B tier action movie. You're expecting something that's really cheesy. It's not very good. In reality, it's probably C tier.
Yeah.
But the phrase B tier is incorrect. You know.
Yeah.
Iruma-kun is genuinely B tier. It's a good B show. Yeah, I mean, if we looked at how many shows that we've ranked under tier lists, the shows that are on B tier probably for a lot of people would be like S or A.
Oh.
But it's just because we've seen so many high tier shows,
Yeah.
you get the
Pale
impression that,
comparison.
this is a B, this isn't a B, but we've only watched masterpieces.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I do think that sometimes because I watch like the first or second episode of an anime and I go down to the comments and everybody's like, oh my gosh, this anime has like changed my life. It's the only thing I love now. I divorced my wife, marrying this anime. And I'm like, it wasn't that good. it wasn't that good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. But speaking of intros, by the way, so the My Hero intro, we're going to talk about My Hero in a second. What do you think about that? I know we only seen it once, so you might not fully remember it by now, but
I enjoyed it. It wasn't spectacular. It didn't dazzle me, but I enjoyed it. I will thoroughly forget it once the season is over.
I beat you to it.
I was about to say, let me just show you guys real quick. I can just look it up real quick. I probably won't keep this into reaction, but we're about to watch it again. Yeah, so now that we've seen it again.
Yeah, forgettable.
Yeah. You know why I was listening to the only part that's really catchy for me was the
1 minute mark.
yeah. It was it 1 minute?
Yeah, right down.
Oh. Yeah, when they start fighting with the kids fighting, all of them. And I like that scene too. I like that whole running and all of the action that was going on as the flow was very nice. Yeah, but from the very beginning, like it reminded me like when we played the game show with the intro game show, and we heard the beginning of Hunter x Hunter, and it's like, what is this? we know this. And then once we hit the beat, we're like, oh yeah,
That's that one.
That's how it feels like it's gonna be to me.
Exactly. I mean, I saw a lot of chatter online where a lot of people are very positive about it. I don't think it's like the worst intro ever or anything. But it's definitely not. It could just be another situation because we watch all these masterpieces. It's just not up to snuff to me. And a lot of people obviously point out the Tokyo Ghoul comparisons because the singer apparently also did Unravel, one of the greatest intros of all time.
I pointed that out. I was
did.
what was that intro, that anime song with the cockroach dance? Because I watched it I heard the intro from a meme. Well, I showed it to you guys. You guys were so confused. But yeah, that was I was like, this guy's voice is like exactly like that other guy's voice.
Very distinctive.
Yes.
Yeah, but I didn't like it that much, and I even cut out other reaction. There was a moment where I said how much I didn't like it in the intro. I was like, how about I leave that out for now? And then I saw how positive everyone was on it.
It's a
like,
good idea.
I ought to hit a hornet's nest.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'll talk about it going forward. But it's like, when it's fresh, you leave it alone.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It just felt like the visuals were it was too slow, and it didn't feel like the visuals were doing it much favors up until the minute mark where the action picks up and stuff. And I don't need action for it to be good. Look at Ranking of Kings, right? But I just didn't think it meshed very well till that point.
Yeah.
You know what? Go ahead.
I feel like for the visuals of the intro, I feel like it didn't have much meaning like the last seasons have done, where like every scene with like the amount of characters are nail on head. Is that what you just I was like, what is that? But yeah, but like it actually meant something. These people are in a group together right now because they have underlying storyline going on, that kind of thing. I didn't feel any of that from this. I just saw a bunch of people in the room.
Yeah.
Sitting like they're b-boys in a music video.
Yeah.
Because technically they are. I mean, I guess.
Yeah. I agree 100%. That's what I was going to say. It last intro and I think outro tied together similarly is that it was telling you a story about what was going to happen without telling everything, giving everything away. You know there's going to be catastrophe and all of that. And it was just almost sequential in the movement and the feeling that it was trying to make us feel. This one tried to have that, but it was more stagnant the first minute before it started to pick up. Yeah. It was just, let's stand here. Everybody's standing here. There's these are some bad guys. These are some good guys. These are some other good guys. And these are our guys. Yes. And more guys. And guys and guys and guys. And it felt like they were just trying to show the characters. Yes. Like, remember the characters. Instead of doing flashbacks, that was the flashback. The intro. That's how it felt to me.
Yeah.
The only thing that, in general, I saw people were actually upset about was the invisible girl. Like, slight reveal.
It gave away.
Apparently, it's supposed to be a big reveal from the way
that's
people
why they flashed it. I know, because they flashed it so fast, but I mean, I completely forgot it was there until we talked about it.
I can't get a good look at her or anything, but people are like, you're supposed to save that for a big moment or something. Is the general gist of it I got from the reaction to it. Yeah. But yeah, it was character spoilers.
Oh yeah.
Not character spoilers, but it was just showing everybody, showing them all in on this. I don't know. I feel like they could have done better.
Yeah.
You know what they could have done better for that part? I know, because it won't catch you as well. It would have been more of an Easter egg way of doing it, is showing her arms starting to show instead of showing her face. Because they show glimmers of her face, and that's what gave it away. Yeah. And that would probably make people upset.
But then, 86 is about to end. Also, just to remind you guys, by the time you see this, the other poll should be finished, so we should be gearing up for the next patron poll. If you're a patron, keep your eyes open for when you see the new poll to replace that show. Speaking of My Hero, expectations. We just finished the first episode. We're immediately in a fight. I didn't expect for it to start soon. Yeah. But what are you expecting to happen?
Well, we have a new character. I don't. Do we say anything? Because it feels like spoilery. I don't know. Let's try.
Well, it's a live show.
Yeah. But I mean, like,
I don't like
who hasn't seen the.
Yeah, I don't like to spoil anything in general, but it's really hard to discuss anime without spoiling it. But because I want people to be able to enjoy the podcast without fear of I was gonna watch that show in 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so it's season 7. It's the first episode. That's all we've seen. So I mean,
okay, yeah.
And she was talked about at the end of the last season too.
Yeah. So and it's episode 1. So. Okay, so we have a new character, Star and Stripe, and she's immediately in danger. Yeah, it seems like
that was so fast.
Yeah,
like we were talking about at the beginning of the intro to the episode before we started watching the show. We were like, okay, what are we expecting? Oh, we'll just ease into it a little bit. We did, but then we went straight into it. Yeah. It's like, oh wow, we eased in for like 2 minutes.
We had 2 minutes of Deco's okay. Now destruction. Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. What do you think of her powers? New rule,
OP.
new order?
Beyond
Order.
OP.
Is it a little, yeah.
I mean, the thing is, I always thought there was a disparity between All Might's power and everyone else's with how strong it is, but it made sense because it's a stockpiling power. It will never stop getting stronger, and it's been like 8 generations, right? So it's like, okay, yeah, if anything's going to get OP, it's going to be that. But then you get someone with just like washing machine powers, and then you get someone like the ability to summon black holes, and they still seem below All Might.
Yeah.
But then you get Star and Stripe, which is such an unbelievably powerful power. They're just like, is anyone else even in the same category? Because even Shigaraki had to work his way up to where he is right now.
Yeah.
And even then, he has a strong chance of dying here. You know? So, I mean, I like her power. It's just...
I think of it this way, because we learned this in that episode.
Okay.
America is the birthplace
Of the
Heroes.
of heroes.
yeah.
So it makes sense that they became that because they had a really strong hero or strong heroes. Like maybe the reason it's the birthplace was maybe Quirks started there.
Yes, that's exactly what that
That's
means.
what that means, right? So if the Quirks started there, it would make sense that the starting place kind of developed faster, or had more powerful quirks, or the more powerful quirks.
But
what is
All
it?
Might isn't
Aggregated
from
there.
there.
I know, but the powerful quirks aggregated there or something. I'm just saying because that's where it all's happening. Let's go there. So you have people, even if they were from another country, they came and. I mean, All Might probably would have stayed if he fell in love with somebody. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. But I don't know. I'm just saying that, or just the fact that she's America, they had to give her strong power.
I mean, she's essentially going to represent the entire country in the show, because I doubt we're going to see anyone else coming over. At this
Yeah.
point.
True.
That and her plane buddies.
Yes.
If they survive, because she was straight up like, you're all probably gonna die here. Bring back your remains.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I signed up for this.
Yeah.
And then also, if you think about it, only the super strong ones are in the limelight. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it seems like there's this non-balancedness.
Yeah.
But that's just the way it would go in real life, right? Only the super strong ones would actually make it to the top limelight.
Yeah.
And then all of the crazy random, because its quirks are just a DNA thing. So
Yeah.
it's just like something happens. And now you're a washing machine.
You're a washing machine.
You know?
Oh man, sex sucks, buddy.
Yeah, so I mean,
I hear what you're saying. I'm not convinced.
I was also going to say, I kind of like that. I like that it's so unbalanced because
Yeah,
it feels real.
It feels more realistic than this
Yeah.
one that's crazy.
Because some
Yeah,
people just get bad roles and that's it. Like Lemillion would have technically gotten a bad role if he didn't figure it out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just falling through the world every now and
For
again.
every day.
And he does it regularly by accident.
Lemillion's a great example.
Yeah.
I enjoy Lemillion, and I wonder where he is, because, I mean, he's healed up, but, I mean, I don't think he can fight Shigaraki.
No. I think they had said that like he was healed up enough to go into the fight,
That's
but he
gonna
wasn't
say.
100% yet.
Yeah, I was going to say he's still working on it.
He reminds me of, he's the Toto of this show.
Toto, my brother.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, crazy, really strong, and will perform better than you'd think they would, but probably shouldn't be going up against End Boss.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. Interesting.
I
Didn't
could
think
see
it that
him-
way.
I could see him fighting a little bit with Shigaraki.
Yes.
But I could also see him dying at the end of fighting with Shigaraki.
Yeah. That's exactly how that fight would go.
But yeah, we ended off that first episode with she's pinning down Shigaraki. I just keep thinking about what things could she do that the audience could think of, which is broken, that she won't do. Like, can she turn off gravity in an area? Because if she turns off gravity in an area, what can Shigaraki do? He just floats. Right?
Well, I mean, he floats until he's out of the area she turned off,
Well,
right?
she has 2 rules. Just stack it all the way to stratosphere.
Well, we do have a possible nuke coming. So, because she was using the lasers and she was talking about how if Endeavor's thing didn't work on him, this isn't.
Mm-hmm.
So, is she going to try to catch the nuke and be like,
The cruise
nuke!
missiles.
Whistles, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the plan. Just hold him there till he gets hit with those, which will definitely kill all her co-pilots.
Yes.
Because they're like, it's a ballistic missile, right? So the explosion radius.
Yeah,
Well, maybe
they're
they'll
not far
fly
enough.
away.
They're not far enough.
Fly away.
To start.
But then she isn't either.
Yeah. But she probably can have a rule of like, death, don't do it.
Touch death just before he reaches
Don't
her.
do it. That's funny.
Yeah. But I like those kind of quirks. Like, I like the fact that they had mentioned before, and it still holds true, that like some quirks, they just don't work the way you thought they did. You just have to keep learning more about it. Like you might have thought you produced water, but turns out you just turned water from the oxygen in the air and that kind of stuff. Like that. And also Shigaraki, like, reasoning through her quirk, and like what she's not doing is telling him more than
what she
would tell him.
That's true.
It's really cool. I like that kind of thing.
Yeah, the all for one mixing of them.
Yes, that was great too. Yeah,
that was terrifying.
Very terrifying.
His face.
Body horror.
I mean, how do you beat that if you don't, like, she has no way to beat that because she can't identify
him,
because he can't identify him. He can't identify him. Yeah, so it's very interesting.
So, I mean, all for one, I mean, he just wants to wreak havoc and chaos. He's completely okay with losing his identity and becoming something new.
Yeah. It's like, this is amazing.
He is chaos. He's just entirely chaos.
Yeah, I think they were talking last season about how, like, the quirk affects your personality.
Yeah.
And we were talking about, like, it seems like maybe he just got completely subsumed by his need to absorb quirks. But yeah, other than that, I also had a comment that I wanted to bring up, because we were talking a couple of weeks ago about, you were talking about the villainess who was trying to, like, make the world better, something like that. What was it?
Villainous.
It was dumb villainous. Was it dumb villainous?
Oh yeah. The observation log of my my fiance's self-proclaimed villainous. Yes.
Wow,
Yeah.
I remember that.
From Just a Crusader Guy 3320. I've gone down the villainous manhwa rabbit hole countless times, and it's usually been a pretty nice ride. However, a lot of them feel very similar and have almost the exact same plot.
Yes.
It gets very repetitive.
Yes.
I replied to him the same thing as we were talking about that on camera. We talked about that off camera, how there are just niches, and there's a massive audience for that niche, and so you just put on different coats of paint, but there's 1,000 of them. They're all the same, but the people will read them.
Yeah. What's weird is that, like, with the author, I feel like the author thinks they're doing something new. Like, they're like, this is the normal, like, villainous starting out point, but from here on, it's gonna be my own creation. It doesn't do that.
That'd be so insulting hearing that. You think you're doing something, don't you? How dare you?
Sorry, but it's true. Like, most of them,
true.
like, there's the formula. She starts out a villainous. She remembers the plot. She doesn't want to die, and then she, like, tries not to be the villainous. People still see she's the villainous, and for some reason, she's getting upset at them for thinking that she's the villainous, because the body that she's possessed is, like, done all the terrible things, and she's like, I know that I'm just possessing this body, but you shouldn't be such a jerk to me. Like, and then for some reason, all the audience are like, yeah, that person's a jerk. I'm like, I don't understand this. Yeah, I know that. And then, for some reason, it's always the crown prince. It's never not the crown prince. Crown prince falls in love with her, and then, drama.
Prince Charming.
But, like, what's weird is that, like, even when, like, the crown prince started out being a jerk to them, jerk to the main character. So he was being a jerk because, he thought that she was still evil. But, like, he kind of figures out that she's different now, but he's still being he will continue that line of thinking for a very long time. Like,
surprised at every act of kindness.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my gosh.
And then,
Still
of course, you see the flowers when she's like, yeah, but we should help them out, shouldn't we? Flowers.
What is
it's
this?
Like, what? Charity?
It's been 4 years. You need to let it go.
Low-level generosity, that kind of thing.
Yeah, the thing is, I do enjoy niches that know where they are, because we've talked about this, like, isekai genre. And I've talked about before how when I find something I like it when people just keep making it that way. So I kind of understand the hunger for making it the same over and over again. Maybe the authors do genuinely feel like they're putting a different spin on it, because maybe they're like, why is it this character did that in this manga? Okay, I'll make my manga, make the correct decision, but everything else exactly the same. So their spin on it is their creative license, but they can't get out of those what do you call it, the lanes kind of thing.
I would like it if the author would just, like, see the obvious thing to do and just say no.
Did the opposite.
Yes, because like the usually what happens is it feels like you have this regular like this character is introduced and she's really nice, but like she's poor or something, so she needs money for her sick brother, but the main character doesn't know that, because otherwise the main character would have given him money, because the main character is like the god of all humans and loves them, you know what I mean? So the evil person comes to them and is like, I'll give you money for your sick brother. Ooh, look at that, he's getting worse right at this very moment, if you do something bad to the main character. And like, it would be really nice if that character would just instead of doing the obvious plot thing and taking the money and then crying about it later and being like, I'm so sorry, just be like, take the money and then go back to the main character and tell them what just happened. Yeah. Because they're your friend and they would listen to you, you know what I mean? It feels like as soon as like somebody makes a deal, it's like, hey, you're gonna do this thing and I'm taking a gamble telling you at all about this evil thing that I'm gonna do. Yeah. If it would just backfire. Yeah. Because it obviously would. You know, it's like, I'm not gonna poison my family just because I took your money, you know? I'm just gonna take your money and run. That's how it's gonna go.
Yeah, I see that a lot recently in the isekai genre, in manhwas, even though they do follow the same patterns of what's gonna happen. There's a lot of situations where the main character is confronted with the plotting villain, and then the plotting villain gets immediately upended by the main character, just like, I knew you'd do that 4D chess move, to the point where that's what's getting exhausting in the manhwa genre. So it's just funny how you want people to think things through in the villainous. Over here, I want isekai where the main character isn't a genius who figures everything out and knows what to do in every single situation. Just marry the two genres.
I was gonna say, there's no making anybody happy here. Because I was funny, as you were talking about how you don't like when it's kind of like a catch-22. You don't want them to make all the same thing all the time, but you don't want them to not make the same thing all the time when you like the thing. Yeah. So, but I feel like that's everybody. Everyone is like, you made a thing I love, keep making more. And then other people are like, that's so dumb, I need you to make this one over and over again. Like, everybody wants their thing to be made over and over and over again. Yeah. You know? So it's like, it's difficult. You can't make anybody happy. You just have to wait till the next generation comes around.
Well, I should clarify. So it's like if I'm watching, say, a video game maker, and they make the first game, and I love that game, and the sequel is a completely different genre, stuff like that I hate.
When they do way too much of a pivot.
Yeah, because I like the series for what you did in the first one. So expand on what you did in the first one. It doesn't have to change genres or anything. But if you do change genres, don't be surprised when I stop watching.
I think the other thing is, too, people don't analyze exactly what the fans liked. So they're like, oh, we're going to make a new and improved and you're going to love it. But they didn't keep the parts that the people actually liked from the first one. So, for instance, they loved the way the villain was written. But instead, in the next one, they're like, we're going to do new and improved villain, and it's going to be alien instead. And they're like, that's not what we wanted. Yeah. We wanted the villain to be made just as well and change something else. So it's like, that's what happens when they innovate. Unfortunately, they innovate almost everything instead of finding out what the key elements that need to anchor it in this, say, this game, to call it a part of this game, this family, find the key things to anchor it, and then change the things around it. So maybe that's what people aren't doing well. Can you think of a situation where it's the opposite, where they actually did do well? I'm trying to think, like, they kept the main elements good main elements that made it still happily received by the fans, but it was still like, wow when they came around again.
I didn't get to play it too much, but I think like Ghost Runner 2, probably the video game, it was a kind of a platformer, kind of stealth ninja game. The sequel was just a better version of 1. Same for like Wasteland 2 to 3. They improved the dialogue, the RPG elements, stuff like that. If I had more time, I could think of something else like that. But for me, mechanics is what I care most about. If you keep the same mechanics for the sequel, then I'm good. But if you change the story and the circumstances surrounding the mechanics, I might care, but I won't care as much. But the story, I don't care that much. It's always been about the way things play. But for reading material, I'm way more forgiving with you changing things up. I can check out anything in the genre. Like isekais, if I want to watch an isekai, I just, all isekais, scroll, grab. I know I'm going to get, but it'll be kind of interesting, it'll be different. Yeah. Video games, because of the nature of making a game is so complicated and hard, you can't really find another game like one game anywhere else. Even when there's games like this, like there's websites like similar games to this thing.
Yeah.
They'll list 30 games that are nothing like it really, because you can't really make a game that's like another game. Even spiritual successors are kind of different in that regard. Whereas with anime or any kind of reading material,
You can
genres are
copy.
genres. If you like go to like the young adult novel something, they'll always be very interesting in the very first chapter, and then from then on it's a romance novel.
Yes.
That's how they all are. You know?
It's true.
You know what you're getting.
Yeah.
But if that author decides they want to do something different, it's not the end of the world for me because I have options. Video games is not the same.
Right.
Yeah.
If they change what they're doing, I do not have options.
That's true.
So you feel more helpless there. Like, what are you doing to me? Versus you can always find respite with these written materials.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how I felt when Minecraft passed, like 2019. Like suddenly the developers got interested in updating the game, and then they kept making these weird things like Minecraft Dungeons, and then there's Minecraft Bedrock, and I was like, what the heck are these? I was staying on Java. Like literally everybody only plays Java, and then they kept updating the game. In the beginning, I didn't really like the updates because the updates, like when they added new creatures, it didn't really feel like Minecraft. They've gotten better now. I think either they've gotten better, or I've gotten used to it. Like I don't know which ones, but. Like, they have these new... Like, the Warden is a new mob. He kind of feels Minecraft, but he kind of doesn't feel like the Minecraft that I knew.
He's like a horror game.
Yeah, he's pretty terrifying.
So you're a Minecraft snob.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, I could expand on that. Yeah, in general, I think that's why you find so many hostile, protective communities in video games.
Yes.
Because it takes so long to find something that you want, and when you do find something that you want and you get invested in something that you like, if the devs start doing things you don't like, you get very emotional.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think you see so many hate threads and stuff like that, like Steam review bombing, like Helldivers. Did you hear about the Helldivers thing that happened recently?
Really?
They don't know how this happened, but Sony decided from now on you will need to have a PlayStation 2 account whenever you sign into your Helldivers account. And for a lot of people on other platforms, that meant they had to actually rebuy the game through Sony. For some countries, they can't even do that, so then they essentially are getting locked out of their accounts. And the community managers were even talking trash with their own players. Helldivers 2 has such a positive community because everyone's like on the same side as players versus environment, so it's not like a PvP community. Everybody loved them because they were like the chosen one. They made a complete game. There was no microtransactions that actually mattered, and everyone cares about them, and they loved them. And then they did that.
Yeah.
And so then you look at like the review page, and it's nothing but negatives. Like, no, don't buy the game. Don't buy the game. They screwed it up. Leave.
That's so sad. I was so hopeful for them.
They reversed it yesterday.
Oh, okay.
So
Good.
from it sounds like it wasn't the devs' choice, that it came from higher ups. They just said you're gonna have to do this from now on.
We need
It
money.
sounds like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't think it was anything else.
Yeah.
The thing is, Sony is very big on collecting player data, and so they think that's why they did it. They had millions of people who weren't collecting data off of. So yeah.
And I was gonna say that these people like broke out of I think it's because they achieved something great when they broke out of the game makers
The
like
mold.
yes,
Yeah.
of just making this
Microtransaction broken
everything,
game,
everything, yeah. And then they did something different, and everybody loved them. They're like, ooh, loving fans, let's take their money. You know, that's what I think PlayStation was all about. And they probably caved because maybe they were threatening them to, you know, off them for the next one or whatever. You know, pushing them, pressuring them. And they're like, oh, we got to do it. But because they hit their pockets, these players stop playing, or they can't play. They're not buying more games.
They're telling other people to not buy the game.
Yes, losing reputation. They're like, fine, they pivoted.
Yeah.
So I think that's what happened.
They're probably going to force the devs to put in some microtransactions instead.
The thing is, there are in the way that you can buy cosmetics, but I don't think it's nothing important. You know, we don't really count those as microtransactions anymore.
Yeah, that's the thing. When I think of microtransactions, I think of things that will make your game better than mine. Like, you can pay to play, basically. You know, versus you just want to look prettier in the game. That's more like jealousy. That kind of jealousy is like, I want to look like Taylor Swift in Fortnite. Come on, you know. But it's not making your game easier for you to play.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I think is better microtransactions.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. They're making it into a cape. The reviews. Let me show you.
Cape? Oh, you... I think I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's the Steam chart.
What's the Steam chart?
That's the days.
Oh, that's good.
Blue is positive. So the day started going negative, and they started giving positive after they reversed the decision.
Oh, that's so cute.
I like how the devs.
I love them.
The devs are kind of like
They're
sticking
into
it
it.
to the higher ups as well. It's like, this is what happens. So good job, guys.
Round of applause. I love these guys.
Community efforts.
I love these guys. Oh, I had a thought on why the difference between why the situations like this in gaming versus books. Just the sheer amount of time it takes to make versus the improvements of technology.
Yeah.
I feel like because technology is it's improving so quickly, you can't make the next game with the same mechanics because there's just better techniques available, better tools. It's a shame to not use it, and then people will probably like laugh at you like you're using 2020 things instead of 2024 you know, they're like, I'm not gonna pay $60 for that. That's now $40. That's 2020 $40. You know,
2040 bucks.
2040 bucks. But yeah, so I feel like it's kind of that pressure of improving mechanics because of the new tools. What is that? What is it? Unity 5. Unity 5.
engine?
Yeah, the new engines that they just
Unreal
keep,
5.
Unreal, yeah, and they keep just getting better and better and better and better. So it's like they're pressured to use it, and then they take forever to make the game. So it's another 5-10 years before the next game. So
I think that's also a trap where a lot of those things are improvements on graphics, whereas I don't think necessarily there's definitely a crowd that needs the graphics to get better, but I feel like the important crowd is polishing what you already had. So yeah, you can go on to the next engine, but if you go on to the next engine and it takes so much time and effort that all you did is make it look better, I think that'll still come back negatively on you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think about like for me visuals, like the visuals just have to be passable as long as the game itself is good. But for a while, it seemed like for game reviews, people were only like, look how pretty this game is.
Oh, yeah.
And it was basically like a reskinned old version of the game if they were making a sequel. But they're like, look how much prettier it is.
I mean, I
And
think
it's
about
like-
it. I think about that with like Minecraft, like shaders and new shaders and shaders of shaders and shaders.
Yeah,
You
well,
know,
those are mods. Those are communities.
I know. I just think of that idea of where people will go through very long, strong, whatever you want to call it, lengths to get their game to look prettier. You know, so I feel like it's that mentality where they'll pay the extra $20-$30 on that price just to have it look prettier.
Yeah.
So that's why the people in the higher ups, they're like, oh, is that what you'll do for a measly shinier pixel?
Shinier pixel.
Then for sure I will give you shinier pixel. Yeah. You know, so that it's just money grabbers. They want to take the monies.
Yeah. That actually reminded me of like when I think it was RTX 90 Ti came out.
Yeah.
What is it? Linus Tech Reviews did a demo of it. But they did a demo of it on Minecraft. It's like, look, Minecraft has like moving shadows now, and like the sun actually like looks like the sun. Yeah, it was ray tracing. That was it when ray tracing first came out, and I'm like, so it's a shader. So it's a shader. Like everything, I like all of the demos that he was showing. Like I've seen this before. I've played this before. It's a shader.
It's kind of like how also every PC benchmark website uses Counter-Strike as a benchmark, even though the game's like 10 years old. It's like, okay, you can get 500 FPS on Counter-Strike using this build. Like, okay, so can my toaster.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
because that's what people play.
Yeah.
You know, they play these standard games that don't look great, but they work. Which is why I think we need to focus on why is it that people play those games? Is it that just that they're addicted, like League of Legends?
Yeah.
I've never met a happy League player. or is it because the mechanics of the game are actually really good?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What were we talking about? How did we get there?
I don't remember.
Oh, we were talking about
Villainous.
why. Yeah, we were talking about why people make the same thing over and over again when they got into games.
Yeah, and how different it is from games versus books. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's why I was thinking. You know, what's funny? Just now in this conversation, I noticed I've never really noticed an angry book fan club. Because book nerds are quiet. They take what they get.
Because maybe it's because they know they can. I don't like this one anymore. Let me get another one.
I guess so.
Because that's the thing. Writing a book does not take 10 years. But sometimes it can. Like if you're George or Vernon. I was going to say sometimes it can, but
1 generation later.
But actually, I mean, even him, one book doesn't. Okay, never mind. I'll drop that one. But for the most part, like even with, he's just like a unusual one. Most writers are prolific and they get good because they write a lot. So they can get through books much quicker. So they can iterate. And so if you don't like what you're reading, you just get another one. Yeah. But with games, it's not as easy, especially if it's the same genre. They just take forever to make. So you're stuck with whatever you have, or just replaying old ones and getting sick of it. You know.
Yeah.
So that's why I think you can't have angry book fans because they have too much.
There's too much choice. Yeah, because you don't like one book, you just move on to the next one.
Yeah,
which is funny because manga readers, in a way, are kind of sure it doesn't take forever to make, but getting a manga that's exactly what you want is probably really hard to find. But manga readers are also kind of known for being very vicious if things don't go the way that they want it to go.
I feel like mangas are kind of in between, don't you think? In the book world, like between book and video game. Because mangakas, like you don't even become a mangaka as easy. Becoming a mangaka and like having your stuff out there is not as easy.
It's hard to get to that point.
Yeah.
So it would make sense that for them they feel more protective of the good ones.
Yeah, whereas isekais, sure you get some angry comments, but no one's that invested.
Yeah, it's like what, 1,000 more?
Aside from the big isekais, like Oshinoko, right?
Yeah, those are like the isekais that like they've departed from being the premises of isekai to being whatever is currently happening.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Yes,
it was supposed to be a jumping off.
Yeah. But it just stays an isekai for a lot of these other manhwas.
Well, I was gonna say, ReZero did depart too, but it still feels like an isekai to me. I still remember I'm in an isekai because he's just a different person.
Yeah,
and he's still wearing like a jumpsuit.
Yeah, he doesn't look like anybody else.
Surprises they don't wash that more often.
Right?
Middle Ages, no one cares. Everyone's sense of smell has long been lost.
Oh my gosh, I read an isekai about that. What? Where like somebody was thinking about like I bet these people in the Middle Ages were like really stunk in this Victorian ages or whatever. She gets isekai and everybody stinks. They won't let her bathe because they think she'll get sick from bathing too much.
Oh no! So she has to stink. I'd hate that. I would hate that. I would hide in a hole all my life until I die.
They'd let you.
As long as you don't bathe.
Don't you dare bathe. You'll kill us all.
Oh my gosh.
But I think that's a good stopping point. So guys, thank you guys very much for being here. Guys, if you like your time here, please leave a like, subscribe, if you want to see more. If you want to see these 2 weeks ahead, you can see the Patreon down below. Also remember, if you're a patron, check out the ongoing polls. And if you're up on YouTube, there may be a poll going on right now, so check out the community tab. We'll see you in City. Goodbye.
Bye.